There's a lot going on in the world, and a lot of people are feeling weird. And I want to talk about that for a few minutes. Things are pretty crazy in the world, right? It seems like everything. Politics, culture, entertainment, sports, everything just feels weird, right? And you're not crazy, not everyone feels it, but a good portion of society feels it, and there's a term for it, and it's called hypernormalization. And what is hypernormalization? Well, hypernormalization is a term that was coined by a Russian scholar historian, Alexei Yurchak, when the Soviet Union was starting to collapse. And then there was a documentary by British documentarian Adam Curtis that really explains it and goes over all of it. It's a 3-hour documentary, and I highly recommend that you see it. So now that we know how the term was invented, what does the term mean? Hypernormalization means that you know that things aren't right, and you know that things are collapsing, except you don't have an answer on how to solve it. So what you do is you just go along with it. You know what I'm saying? You make believe that it's not happening, even though in your heart, brain, and soul, you know it is happening. But it's scary and confusing, and more importantly, you don't really have any solutions or answers, so you kind of just go along with it, hyper-normalizing things that we know aren't normal. Now, we know that politics isn't normal. We know that Donald Trump's not normal, a felon, a sex offender, an overall bad guy, was elected president of the United States. And now he has Elon Musk with him, who we also kind of deep down know is a bad guy. I mean, he gave the Nazi salute. People can make all the excuses they want, but he gave the Nazi salute, and now he's poking around all aspects of our government. And we know that it's not right. Even some Trump supporters deep down know that it's not right. But we kind of go along with it. Let's look at other aspects of society. Porn. Lots and lots and lots of young girls are doing OnlyFans, and not to disparage sex workers, but we kind of know it's not healthy. If all of these young girls are suddenly doing OnlyFans, young men, gambling. Gambling's going to become a giant problem in this country, right? And we see the ads on TV, and we see celebrities endorsing it, we see athletes endorsing it, and we kind of deep down know that it's probably not such a good idea, right? I mean, it's everywhere. Entertainment. We just had the Grammys, and we just had Kanye and his naked wife, and all of the performers performing in bikinis and super sexualized. And I'm not a prude. I get it's rock and roll and music and culture, and that's always kind of been part of it, but not like it is now. You know what I'm saying? Social media. All of these people acting weird and desperate and thirsty and doing anything for attention on social media, embarrassing themselves. It's weird, and we know it's weird. The obsession with money in the world. Now, we know money's always been important, right? I get that, but not like it is now. You have young kids, young men, young women, old women. Everyone's obsessed with money and meme coins and crypto and side hustles and the grind. And we kind of know deep down that that's not really normal either, right? I mean, it's just weird. I mean, even something as innocuous as the basketball trade with Luka. A lot of people were like, it just doesn't feel right. He's the best player in the league, young in the heart of his career. Why would they trade him? It just didn't feel right. Lots of things just don't feel right across culture, from top to bottom. And we know it. And it scares us. It scares us. It confuses us. How did we get here? What's going to happen? What's the answer? What caused it? What's going to solve it? And we don't really have answers for this stuff. So we go into a state called hypernormalization, where we kind of just zone out, if you will, and just kind of go along with it, even though we know that something's wrong. We just inherently know. Your gut, you know, when they say a gut feeling, that's what I'm talking about. You have a gut feeling that none of this is right. It's all strange. The world is very different now than it was just a few years ago, and we don't really know what's happening. We just don't, but we know it's not right. I mean, forget about whether you're Republican or Democrat. I think we can all admit that politics is very weird and crazy. And this Elon Musk doing all the stuff that he's doing, it's weird and crazy. And all of the other cultural markers that I mentioned, it's weird and crazy. A big portion of the population, alcoholics, drug addicts, popping pills, drinking wine, whatever it is. And that's all part of it. It's a numbing because we just don't know what to do. We don't know what to do. We're scared, we're confused, we're angry, we're hurt. We're feeling all of these emotions because of what society has become and what it's going through. And we don't know what the answer is. We don't know what the answer is. And that's what you're feeling, and a lot of people are feeling, who just, sense that something's off. It's just off. And we've entered into a state of hyper-normalization. We just kind of grin and bear it. We kind of just go with it. Yes, people are tweeting and writing and complaining, and some people are expressing, this feeling of things being off. But there's no real solution, is there? There's not. There's not that I can see. The Democrats, let's just take politics. The Democrats are doing nothing. They're talking about rule of law, and Chuck Schumer is tweeting, and all of this, but there's no real solution. And all of the other things that I spoke about, this porn epidemic, this gambling epidemic, all of this stuff, it's all happening. And we know it's not right. I mean, I'm not a prude and I'm not a Puritan. And I get that people have vices, but this is more than that. This is something really heavy and weird and strange, and it's freaking people out. It's freaking people out who don't even know that they're freaking out. Some people are so hyper-normalized at this point that they won't even admit that anything's going on. Then there's other people who know that something's going on, except they can't put their finger on it. They just know that something's not right. And then there's the really enlightened, and maybe that's you, who know exactly what's going on and are super bummed, super sad, super scared. What are we going to do? Tech, AI, crypto, this, that, the other thing. Everything's moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and we're just not equipped for it intellectually, emotionally, all of it. It's going too fast and too many moving parts. And a lot of it we don't even understand. But again, we just inherently, that gut feeling like this isn't right. Something's not right. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So you need to be aware of it. Maybe this helps you now that you know what you're feeling, or that there's an actual term for it and it's been around for a while. Maybe you find comfort in that. I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you think I'm crazy. But this is a real occurrence. And I don't know what the answer is. That's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. As the great George Carlin once said, people who think that they're part of the solution are part of the problem. And that's kind of where we're at, you know? It's just crazy out there. And it's unsettling, and it makes you feel weird. And we throw ourselves into entertainment or to social media or TikTok or Twitter or Threads or whatever it is. And that's all in an attempt to kind of just feel better, you know? Hypernormalization. It's scary, man. It's scary stuff, and it's heady stuff, and it might be hard for some people to understand. And as I said, there are going to be people who see this video and be like, wow, that Lauren's lost it. But I really haven't. I really haven't lost it. I've always been a guy with his eyes open, and my eyes are open, and that's what we're going through. So I just wanted to make the video to give you a heads up that you're not crazy if you're feeling weird or scared or even hopeless. Those are natural feelings. I highly recommend you go on YouTube and find the film Hypernormalization by Adam Curtis. It's 3 hours long, and it really explains, you know, almost perfectly how we got here and how it's easier to just go along with a fake reality in society than force ourselves to ask the hard questions and then really not have an answer. And that's kind of where we're at. So keep your head above water. Try not to freak out. Do the best you can. Stick close with family and friends and your community. And hopefully we'll get through this at some point. Lauren Feldman, laurenfeldman.com.